Welcome back to Gayle at Night. What kind of person would injure themselves, trigger a massive emergency response, convince an entire community that a violent attack occurred, and then point the finger at somebody else? What would motivate somebody to create fear, chaos, and panic while portraying themselves as the victim? Attention, sympathy, control, or revenge? I don't know, but people like this need to be put in an I Love Me jacket, a straight jacket. What I do know is that this story immediately caught my attention because I've experienced something similar firsthand. Not the self inflicted injury part, but the false accusations part. I've been falsely accused on numerous occasions. The most serious accusations include claims that I was trying to get somebody killed and allegations that I had sent death threats through text messages. Well, investigators later discovered that those threats were sent by the very person claiming to be the victim. The threats were reportedly sent to themselves, and then the police reports were filed naming me as the person responsible in what appeared to be an attempt to get me arrested. So, when I heard about this case involving allegations that someone may have fabricated an attack and blamed another person, I immediately recognized the potential damage such accusations can cause. Because false allegations don't just affect the person being accused, it affects the families, careers, reputations, and they consume law enforcement resources. And in some cases, they can completely change the course of someone's life. Which brings us to the story of Nicole Truelove. Now imagine being a student sitting in class, chilling. All of a sudden, alarms go off. Teachers start yelling. Students are being rushed into classrooms. Parents all over the place getting calls, frantic calls from students, from their kids. Police officers, they're racing toward the school believing a teacher has been stabbed by a student. Now, imagine investigators later conclude that none of it actually happened. That's the story coming out of Texas involving a teacher named Nicole Truelove. And if the allegations are true, this case raises some serious questions, not just about one individual, but about trust, accountability, and what happens when emergency systems are allegedly abused. Let's get into it. On April 9, 2026, a wearable panic alarm was activated at Splendora High School in Texas. Authorities initially believed there had been a violent attack involving a student and a teacher. The school was placed on lockdown. More than 80 law enforcement officers reportedly responded to the scene. Parents were terrified. Students thought they were experiencing like a real emergency. But according to investigators, the facts began to unravel very quickly. Authorities say that Nicole Truelove, who was a social studies teacher at that school, allegedly injured herself and falsely reported that a student had stabbed her. Investigators later described the incident as a hoax. She was arrested and charged with filing a false report and tampering with evidence. Authorities have stated they found evidence supporting the conclusion that no student assault occurred. Truelove has pleaded not guilty and continues to maintain her innocence. Now, her attorney has publicly denied the allegations, and he stated that she intends to defend herself in court. Since her arrest, Truelove has formally entered a not guilty plea and is actively contesting the charges.
To induce an emergency response. That is a Class A misdemeanor. The second charge is tampering with physical evidence. That's a third-degree felony. I'm going to ask the prosecutor to tell me the probable cause.
Officers were dispatched to Splendora High School possible students stabbing a teacher allegation. Made contact with this suspect during the course of further investigation. She had marks on her chest that were not consistent with stab marks, were instead scratches. Probably about 100 officers responded to the scene, asking several witnesses, found her allegations to be false. In the course of her detention, she made furtive movements under her shirt, at which point a razor blade fell to the floor, which had been concealed on her person. She attempted to bend down and pick the razor blade, conceal it. The state is seeking a $5,000 bond for the false report, $25,000 bond for the tamper. And again, Judge, this is a unique situation due to the sensitive nature of this. There are many dozens, if not hundreds of people in the community concerned about this case. It's also on the media, so we would just politely ask a stiff bond amount, please.
I don't hear anything that would, in that statement, as far as that would affect the bail amount, as far as safety of the community or Ms. Truelove showing up to court.
I will show up.
Ms. Truelove, I don't want to talk about your case this morning. What a waste of resources. I'm going to set the misdemeanor charge at $5,000 and the tampering case at $15,000, total of $20,000. There's also going to be conditions, pretrial conditions, and amongst those conditions, well, Ms. Truelove, let me ask you some questions. Who do you live with? Do you live with family or by yourself?
I live by myself, around family. I'm not going anywhere.
Please, just answer the questions asked.
Okay.
I'm also going to have her placed on the mental health caseload over probation.
Nicole, you will have the opportunity to talk to your attorney, and I recommend you wait until you have an attorney and chat with them about what's going on.
And there will be a GPS monitor placed prior to her release. Ms. Truelove, do you want another judge to review all of that on Monday?
No, thank you.
And do you want...
Judge.
Yeah.
I apologize, and I'm not trying to be difficult. I believe I've been asked to ask, could we ask her to not revisit the property or stay 200 yards away from the property, please? Because it is a primary school.
Let's just say any Splendor ISD properties.
And Judge, just for the record, based on the affidavit that she's presented to the court under oath, I would ask that you consider slicing those bonds down, potentially cutting them in half, as there's been no indication of a criminal history or danger to the community.
No, there is criminal history. Okay, Ms. Truelove, do you want to request a court-appointed lawyer?
No, thank you. Or,
Second?
yes.
Okay, yes on lawyer?
I'm sorry, yes, I need a lawyer.
Step over here.
Rather than seeking an immediate resolution, her legal team appears prepared to challenge her allegations in court. And prosecutors will ultimately have to prove their claims beyond a reasonable doubt. A status hearing was scheduled, I believe it's scheduled for June the 4th, as the case continues moving through the court system. What stands out to me isn't just the criminal allegations, it's the ripple effect. Think about the students. Many genuinely believed they were in danger. Some reported calling their parents during the lockdown. Parents believe there could be an active attacker inside the school. Law enforcement officers rushed to the campus expecting a potentially violent situation. Every one of those officers responding to what they believed was an emergency was unavailable to respond somewhere else. And if the allegations are proven true, that's a significant misuse of public resources. It's also the type of incident that can damage confidence in emergency reporting systems. These panic alarm systems exist because schools have faced real tragedies. When one is activated, people are expected to respond immediately, as they should, but that urgency depends on trust. As reporters dug deeper into the Truelove's background, additional information surfaced. Records reportedly showed prior disciplinary issues at a previous school district. Are you surprised? Those records included complaints involving student interactions, allegations of inappropriate physical contact, concerns regarding professionalism, and other administrative issues. The records also show that Truelove disputed some of those allegations. The district eventually informed her that her contract would not be renewed, so she resigned. Then again, those are administrative records and allegations, not criminal convictions. But they have become part of the public discussion surrounding this case.
Only on to tonight, a Splendora teacher accused of faking an attack by a student had a troubling past at her previous school. Accusations of profane outbursts, physical contact with students, and racist comments. KPRC2's Gage Golding obtained hundreds of pages of employment records. He is live at Splendora High with what they reveal. Gage.
Yeah, hey Keith, before Nicole Truelove took a job here with Splendora High School at the beginning of this current school year, she spent several years at Cold Spring Oakhurst High School near Lake Livingston. Now, here's the deal. I requested numerous publicly available records. Anybody could get these, including Splendora ISD, and they've revealed quite a history, more than 200 of these documents. But the district here said they had no idea about any of her disciplinary past. The hundreds of pages come from Cold Spring Oakhurst CISD. It's where history teacher Nicole Truelove worked before being hired by Splendora ISD last fall. Truelove started teaching at Cold Spring Oakhurst High School in 2021, according to employment records. It's those same documents that outline a history of disciplinary actions, profane outbursts, and physically touching students. In the spring of 2022, school leaders saying Truelove needed to improve teaching the required curriculum. She was also heard screaming by neighboring classes and even grabbing a student to stop them from walking away. In March of last year, her employment records say she grabbed the student by the face. Other students say she slapped them upside the head. Truelove writing, "I am sorry for my actions," but the district put her on leave anyway. Then in 2023, Truelove was put on paid leave again after using racist language with students. A letter from the principal reading they were given a recording of Truelove denying using the N-word. At one point telling a student, quote, "Why? Because I said explicitive," Truelove using the N-word there. And last fall, Truelove was accused of telling students to intentionally perform poorly on a beginning of the year exam. Students saying Truelove told them, quote, "If you know the answer, don't pick the right answer." The tester used as part of her state designation in something called a teacher incentive allotment. It's a bonus for teachers who are among the top performers. Cash bonuses start at $3,000 and can top $10,000. Part of her punishment was not being able to earn that bonus. Months later, Truelove was told her contract would not be renewed. That same day, she submitted this handwritten resignation, stepping down at the end of the school year. All right, so with all of this information publicly available, you, me, anybody can get this, you might wonder, why was she even hired here at Splendora High School in the first place? It's a great question. I asked the district that. They said they checked a state do not hire registry. Truelove was not on there at the time. She is now. They also say they were not aware of this disciplinary past. Now, Cold Spring Oakhurst CISD, they say they are now sending her entire employment record to the state. This is only after this incident and only after we started digging for these answers.
Another reason the case drew attention is because Truelove had previously been involved in a highly publicized legal matter dating back to 2017. While she was teaching in a Texas prison, she reported being sexually assaulted by an inmate. That case resulted in litigation and a settlement. Then years later, critics and supporters began revisiting those events after the current allegations emerged. One reason that prior case has become part of the public conversation is because it presents a sharp contrast to the allegations being made today. In the 2017 prison case, an inmate was ultimately convicted of offenses related to the incident, and subsequent civil litigation was settled. That history has led some observers to ask whether the current allegations fit a larger pattern, while others argue that each case should be judged solely on its own facts and evidence. The reality is that prior events do not determine guilt or innocence in the present case. Investigators, prosecutors, defense attorneys, and ultimately the jury, if the case reaches trial, will have to evaluate the evidence specific to this incident.
Tonight, with a lockdown at Splendora High School this morning that sparked fear and confusion after a reported assault on a teacher. But investigators now say it was all a hoax.
Authorities determined the teacher's injuries were self-inflicted. She is now facing charges for filing a false report and tampering with evidence. That's after more than 100 officers responded as students were rushed into classrooms and the campus was secured. Officials say the teacher, Nicole Truelove, activated a panic alarm just before 9 a.m.
Troy Kless live at the school with what he is learning about that teacher tonight. Troy?
Well, Len, within the last hour, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office says that Nicole Truelove has been booked into jail, but we're also learning this is not the first time that she's been involved in a high-profile case. Records obtained by KHOU 11 Investigates link Truelove to a series of federal lawsuits involving allegations that she was sexually assaulted by an inmate while teaching in a state prison facility. Federal court records show in 2019, Truelove sued the Wyndham School District and Texas Department of Criminal Justice, alleging that assault. That suit was later settled, and the inmate in question later sued Truelove, alleging a false accusation, but he later withdrew the complaint. Splendora ISD today saying there was nothing concerning in her employment history that would have led them to worry ahead of today's incident.
During the investigation, it was determined that there was no assault on a teacher that was committed by a student. The injury sustained to the teacher was self-inflicted. Evidence supports that this was a hoax. The teacher has been charged with filing a false report and also felony tampering with evidence.
Investigators say they found some sort of blade or knife they believe she used on herself today. Again, Nicole Truelove facing charges including felony tampering with evidence and filing a false report.
To be clear, the existence of allegations in one case does not automatically determine the truth of another. Each case has to stand on its own evidence. One of the reasons this story has captured so much attention is because it touches on something larger: credibility. When serious accusations are made, people are expected to respond. Police respond, school respond, communities respond. The public is generally encouraged to believe and investigate claims of harm. But when false allegations are made, they don't just affect the accused. They affect everyone. They create skepticism. They consume resources. And they can make it harder for genuine victims to be believed in the future. That's why accountability does matter, no matter who the person is, no matter what position they hold, no matter what narrative people prefer. At the end of the day, Nicole Truelove has been charged, but she has not been convicted. One question many people are asking is what the defense strategy will be. So far, the investigators have publicly stated that they believe the evidence supports the conclusion that no student attack occurred and that the injuries were self-inflicted. The defense, however, maintains that Truelove is innocent. As more evidence becomes public through the court process, we'll get a clearer picture of what each side intends to present and how they plan to support their claims. That's why it's important to allow the legal process to play out while still examining the facts that are already available. We'll have to see what evidence is presented and what ultimately happens in court. But one thing is already clear. The incident sent shockwaves through a school community. It involved a massive law enforcement response and sparked a national conversation about trust, credibility, and accountability. And those conversations aren't going away anytime soon. Click the like button for me and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this case is simply about one individual? Do you think that Nicole Truelove's previous incidents and cases should be taken into consideration? Or do you think it reflects a larger problem involving false allegations and the consequences that follow? This is Gayle at Night. Thank you all for watching and thank you for supporting. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and set the bell to all.